Welcome to Citizen McCain. It's Monday, April 27th. Thank you guys so much for Zooming, listening, doing all the things. Okay, we have a lot to get to today, and we want to try and have some laughs too, but it's obviously been a very intense weekend for the country and for everyone, particularly here in DC and the Beltway. We are going to have Brent Scher from the Daily Wire come on and talk about his experience inside the ballroom of the Hilton where the attempted shooting happened at the White House Correspondents Dinner. And then we are going to have Isabel Brown, who is a rising star, up and coming host of her own show at the Daily Wire. And she's a very interesting commentator. I really love her work. And she got into a fight recently with The View. And if anybody knows about that, I do, and I can't wait to talk to her about it. But just a reminder, if you are listening on the podcast and you want to join us on Zoom, you can register to do that at twoway.tv/Megan. And if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please keep subscribing. We love it. It makes us so happy. YouTube.com/@Citizen McCain YouTube. Okay, Miranda, I've been messaging. We've been talking all weekend, as I have with everyone. Let's get into it. I know that it's Monday, and this happened on Saturday night, but we haven't talked about it on our show, and maybe some people don't know what happened. And if you don't, or you haven't been paying attention, at the White House Correspondents Dinner on Saturday night, accused gunman Cole Allen, who is a progressive teacher from California, sent a chilling anti-Trump manifesto to his family just before opening fire, and he called himself the, quote, friendly federal assassin, and revealed that he was hell-bent on killing President Trump and his administration officials. He is expected to be arraigned in federal court today. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said investigators believed he traveled on train from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. via Chicago, where he speculated that he could have been to attempt to avoid security associated with air travel. You know, every time I take the Acela into D.C., I think of how dangerous it is and how there's no security. It's just anecdotal. Allen mocked the insane lack of security at the the Washington Hilton, where he arrived armed to the teeth, without so much as a sideways glance. Officials stated that the Secret Service interviewed Allen's sister, who lives in Rockville, Maryland, and learned that he often made politically radical remarks and spoke of doing, quote, something to fix the issue. I want to play a clip really quick of Simone Sanders, the MSNBC host, MS Now host, talking about how easy it was for her to get into the Washington Hilton. Number 3, please.
Honestly unconscionable. Just like you, I've been to many White House correspondent dinners. I've been going for the last 10 years, but this year I actually showed up to the Hilton shortly after 8 p.m. And I actually took a scooter right up to the front of the Hilton driveway. And this matters because, as you know, usually there's a lot of protesters outside of those barricades before you can actually enter into the driveway of the Hilton. But this year, there are no protesters outside. I come to find out the people were actually milling about into the lobby. When I got off of the scooter and in front of the barricade, usually you have to show ID and a ticket. The folks at the security at the gate, and these were not agents, the Secret Service agents, they were not identified as Secret Service agents that I could see at the gate, but they did not ask me to show ID, and they did not even ask me to show a ticket.
Okay, so I cannot remember how many times, I legitimately can't remember how many times I've been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I think it's 9. We have some photos of me throughout the years right here, just a proof of life that I've been. I went for the first time in 2007, I believe. It's 2007 or 2008, I can't remember, when my dad was running for president. There I am. People Magazine. I've got some bad fashion in my past, but we do what we can. I went
sincerely, that was a cute look. I liked it. Yeah.
Thank you. I went with People Magazine. That's a particularly good one because I just broken up with my fiance at the time, my first one. That's a different story for another day. And I was like, I'm going to the Correspondents' Dinner. And I went the first time. People Magazine invited me and my grandmother and the Jonas Brothers. That is not me at the Correspondents' Dinner. That's a picture of a party that we threw. We'll get to that one second. I've been to the Correspondents' Dinner a lot. It's a privilege to be asked. There's a lot of people that hate on the Correspondents' Dinner. I actually really like Correspondents' Dinner weekend here in DC. And I like going to Correspondents' Dinner because I really do feel like, A, it's the one time where I'm really comfortable being in the room with people on all sides of the aisle. Because I guess up until last night, actually, Jim Acosta got in some fight with Michael Tracy and they were yelling at each other. But up until this weekend, it's a place to like sort of come together and celebrate the fact that all of us, that includes Ashley and you and everyone in this business, in politics and political media, whatever, that we all do this with our lives. And it is not like doing any other job. It's intense. We're going to have to talk about a shooting that could have happened right now. These are covering politics is not for the faint of heart. And we all do it and we all love it. I think you'd have to continue doing it. And I like the dinner because it's a way to poke jokes at the president, and the president pokes jokes at the press. Traditionally, that's what has happened. Now, President Trump has boycotted it since he became president. And this is actually the first year that he had decided to go. And from my understanding, from what Laura Trump said on this show, it was going to be funny and he was going to roast the press, which is a great thing to do. It's a celebration of the First Amendment. I do like the White House Correspondents Dinner. There's a lot of hate about how Hollywood has gotten over the years, which I understand that criticism. But I still think it has a purpose and a point, and I like it. What is so scary about this is one of the reasons I decided not to go this year is because I'm still nursing and breastfeeding Ransom. And even if I was able to take my breast pump, sorry to give you guys too much information, but this is context. Even if I could take my breast pumps with me, they're getting in and out of the Washington Hilton is an absolute shit show. It is. I have been to the MTV Awards. I've been to the Super Bowl. I've been to like every convention, Republican convention you can imagine. I have been to a lot of very high profile, controversial events. This one is the shittiest security it has for a long time. There is no organization. The physicality of the building is complicated because there's different floors and there's this like weird rotunda that you walk into. It's old, it's musty, it's ugly, it's confusing. And to get into the White House Correspondents' Dinner, all you need is a paper ticket, which my understanding is people that went this year were trying to break in with tickets from last year because they look the same. This is not security where you have the president, the vice president, and all branches of our political power in one room, along with every notable political analyst and journalist in America sitting in that room, and God knows who else, like people like, tech executives and people were in that room. It has been a problem for a really long time. One of the factors of the reasons that I didn't go is because I didn't want to deal with the security shit show that place is, the disorganized chaos. It does not feel safe. It hasn't felt safe for a long, long time. Ronald Reagan was shot outside that hotel. This is not something new. So that is what I don't understand is like why this event is still being held here and why it's still as bad as it is. Who is to blame? I don't know. I don't know if it's the Secret Service. I don't know if it is the hotel, but that shooter got a hotel room in the hotel, which is how he got down. Watching that on TV, I was watching it with my friend Sarah. You guys, she's been on the show. My friend from Arizona, my best friend from Arizona, who came in town. I was watching it on TV with Sarah. We were just gonna have a chill night and order pizza, and we were watching it on TV, and they went to a commercial break. And when they came back, I just saw like rustling in the room, like people were moving around, and I said something is wrong, and then it switched to, you could tell that like people were down on the ground, and then someone came on TV and started talking about what had happened. And I said, oh my God, and my first thought was, oh, somebody tried to shoot President Trump. And this is not the first time it's happened. Obviously, people keep trying to shoot President Trump, and we have to live in a world where every event he is at, there is an understanding that President Trump is different than any other president in the sense that more people are trying to actively take his life at any other time than I believe any other modern president than maybe JFK. I don't know. But it is not like President Biden. It's not like President Obama. It's not like President Bush. People are trying to assassinate President Trump all the time. It's horrific. It's awful. It's scary. And his security and the security of everyone else has to be at a different level. And to subject, again, all the journalists, the people who went in to the room to have a good time that night, to subject them to this, I'm angry. I'm angry that 70% of the people I love, trust, and work with were in that room. Right before the shooting happened, I was texting with Tulsi about her hair, texting with her about her clothes. She went and sat down. I was watching her on TV. The camera cut to her. She had a beautiful updo, beautiful black dress on. She was talking to Porter Berry, our friend from Fox News. And I said, look at how beautiful she looks. And the idea that like I could have possibly seen her and everybody else get shot, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Start taking it seriously. President Trump has already had his ear blown off. What are we doing? Charlie Kirk had his neck blown off and died. Take this seriously. I'm angry. I'm angry that people don't seem to be leveling up in the way that they should. And they're going to do a redo of the dinner, which I think is a good idea. And if they do, I'm going to go to that one. I don't care. I'll figure it out, because we need to show that we're not scared and that these animals are not going to get the best of us. But I am very upset this morning and very fearful. And like I said, we have a friend coming on in a minute to talk about his experience being in the room. Is there anything you want to add, Miranda? I know when I was texting with you, you were saying the same thing, that like everybody we know, love our frequent guests of our show. Everybody we know works in this field, for better, for worse. My life revolves around this. I'm sorry, continue.
Like, I know Weijia Jiang from CBS. She was sitting right next to President Trump as this was going
that
on.
Poor woman. And then seeing her in her evening gown in the briefing room right after.
Horrifying. Yeah. I mean, Nikki Schwab, Yemisi was there. Like, seriously, like everybody we know.
Hogan, Tulsi, Erica Kirk. Like, I mean, it was just a whole. And by the way,
you and Ben
Kirk
could have been there. God, imagine the PTSD, that woman. When I was thinking about it, I had a different reaction. My daughter Coco has really intense anxiety, and I did not let her be around any of the coverage regarding this because she has an intense fear of a school shooting. And that's what this kind of reminded me of. They have the lockdown drills at school, and she once missed, I think she was in first grade, she missed 2 weeks of school because she was having such horrible panic attacks, thinking that someone was going to come and shoot her at school. And that's kind of what this makes me think. It's like, if this is how adults who cover war zones and terrible situations are reacting, imagine how children feel when the threat of this is told to them a few different times a year, as a bad guy could come in and do something bad to you at school, and just kind of be ready for it at any time. So it's like, I don't know what the solution here is. This is clearly a crazy person who thought maybe he had like a Luigi Mangione complex. Is he going to be idolized? Is he going to be looked at because his manifesto mentioned taking out pedophile rapists, bad guys with blood on their hands? Like, he thinks he's doing vigilante good stuff. So are people going to be on his side? I can't think of a single person who's going to be on his side. I don't think the answer is murdering the president if you want him to be held accountable for his crimes that you think he's responsible for, or whatever. If anything, that absolves him. So if you want people to be held accountable, you go through the correct avenues. You don't just run into a ballroom full of innocent journalists or celebrities and guests and just start shooting. It's crazy. It's scary. The first person I thought of when the shooting happened was Nikki, and I texted her. Then I texted you, and I was just like, please tell me you didn't go. Because I knew that you were kind of back and forth about it. I knew Nikki was there, but I didn't know if you were there. I didn't think you had gone. But, we had a whole week of leading up to it, prep. You threw a party in honor of it. So, what do we do? How does this move forward? How do we even ever have another one of these events in the same spirit that it's been held? Because people have loved it. It's nerd prom, and the journalists love getting dressed up, walking the step and repeat the red carpet, getting their photo taken. I can't believe that the king and queen are still coming for their visit. Queen Elizabeth would have pulled out of that immediately. I'm shocked that life is just going on.
Our guest is here, Miranda. Sorry to interrupt you.
Please.
I'm sorry. He is not here. Never mind. Well, sorry to interrupt you, but I will get to one thing I do want to bring up is we did throw a party. Want to show pictures. So I had the privilege of throwing. We called it the Renegade Women's Cocktail Hour with my friend Jessica
really
Krause. It was really fun. That was my friend Jessica Krause and our friend Vanessa Santos from House and Habit. And Vanessa runs Renegade PR here in DC. We had a really wonderful turnout. Sage Steele, Cheryl Hines, a bunch of journalists, bunch of friends, Yemisi.
Cheryl Hines, who everybody saw the video of her.
Yes.
Oh
Horrible.
my God.
Ashley came, like our teams here at Two Way came. It was a really lovely time. So a little background on this, and I don't want to scare anyone who was physically present. We had problems with this party not the physical party, but beforehand, because it was announced that this party was happening and people were pressuring the hotel to cancel the ability for us to do it at this hotel because I'm conservative, I assume, because Jessica's controversial. We actually had to have undercover police at the hotel and around the party because the threats were so extreme. We had people, we had 2 levels of security to get in. I'm not going to explain how because we might do that venue again. And the hotel, by the way, amazing, incredible. The Graham here in DC, just absolutely the best professionals, did an amazing experience for us. Couldn't endorse them more. But even leading up to it, I was like, how many people know that we're going to be in this space? Who's going to be outside to harass us? Who's going to be screaming? God forbid, knock on wood, anything violent happens. And I'm sorry, but AOC and Hassan Piker can throw an event down the street from us, and they're not going to get the same level of threats as conservative people do. And that's the part that I'm getting, that I'm really more and more upset about, is we are too normalized to this level of violence and threats everywhere. And that's just us doing a small party, let alone the president of the United States and our first lady and whatever else. But we had security issues ourselves. I want to show you, our guest is not here yet, right? Okay. Okay. You just let me know, Ashley. He's going to be here in a minute. I want to show you really quick, Melania Trump, our second lady, not our second lady, good luck. Second time she's been our first lady. She's our first lady.
Right.
She put out a statement about this clip Jimmy Kimmel showed on his show last week. I would like to show the clip number 8, please, and then we will read her tweet.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Okay. It's obviously wildly distasteful. Melania put out a statement today saying, Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue and my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward. Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Obviously, ABC's had issues with Jimmy Kimmel in the past and jokes that I believe after Charlie Kirk's assassination that he made distasteful jokes about that as well. And he was put on, I believe, a leave, paid leave. I don't remember.
It's like a weird FCC suspension because the FCC got pressured by the administration to pull licensing or something. It was a weird situation.
What do you think of this? What do you think? Do you think that ABC will end up pulling
I don't.
Kimmel?
I would be surprised if they do end up pulling Kimmel. Just, this goes back to, again, the First Amendment rights to make jokes, even yucky, bad taste jokes that are stupid. That's not a funny joke. I don't know that it's coming off. To me, it reads as Trump is 80 years old and he's going to die. He is old. I don't know that he's calling for the president's murder.
Brent is here now.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
really quick.
Brent's flight was delayed. He's trying to get back to. He's trying to get home. He's trying to escape DC, just like everybody else. Hi, Brent. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time to come on. We really appreciate it. Brent Scher is the editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire, and you can find him at Brent Scher on social media. Brent, we were just talking about the party that we threw over the weekend and how we had to have such heightened security, just even at that. And that's just like a cocktail party that we had for friends and colleagues and people we love in the industry. You were actually at the dinner. I was reading your tweets, obviously horrified. You're friends with me and my husband. Can you just tell me a little bit about what it was like being in the room when it happened?
Yeah, sure, Megan. Sorry, I'm still at the airport on my way back to Nashville.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing you talk about that, it's kind of crazy. There was more security at a lot of the events, so White House Correspondents Dinner, than the actual dinner in a lot of ways. I mean, at a lot of these embassy parties, there were strict lists that you had to be on to get through a security checkpoint. At the White House Correspondents' Dinner, to get into the hotel, all you had to do was flash them a ticket to show that you had one, but they weren't being very judicious about seeing who you or making sure that not only do you have the ticket, you're somebody that should have the ticket. And the more I think about it, it's kind of crazy just how many people, prominent people who have protection, were around that hotel in places that were not behind a metal detector. I felt safe that night, and I felt completely safe uh, in the room even after things went down. But the more I think about it, there were definitely some holes in security.
When we saw the video of, or actually we have a video of, in the room, we can play the B-roll of it. You hear like popping noise, and there's a clip that's going around of Melania looking just petrified. And obviously she's been through this before horrifically. What did it feel like when you first heard the gunshots? And I mean, I can imagine what it was like in the room, but what was the energy like?
There were a few very, very, very seconds and then minutes. Like Trump said, we heard this day outside, and it was pretty obvious that there were gunshots, and everybody kind of knew what to do and got right under the tables. I was kind of the one person at the table that had my head up, telling people stay there. I was sitting next to my wife; she was under the table. But I'd say the Texas part was probably in the 4 or 5 minutes after the gunshots, hearing people or seeing people like Kash Patel, Mike Johnson, all these people being escorted out of the room, looking very nervous and get out of the room. And then we were all sitting in the room, and seeing people room that you seem to be stuck in is not the most comforting feeling. But in retrospect, it seemed was the safest place to be. It was the most secure place in the hotel. There was no breach past those metal detectors, and I kind of feel like we all should have just stayed in. But all of a sudden, everybody gets up, and security starts yelling, "Everybody out of the room! Out of the room! Out of the room!" And then we had this kind of chaotic move up a few escalators towards the lobby, where it was a very chaotic scene of nobody knowing where to go or what to do. Because Donald Trump was still saying at the time that he wanted everybody to go back to the room. So we're sitting around the lobby. I actually got on the Daily Wire stream and was telling our audience what was going on, but it was a tense few minutes and then a tense couple of hours in the hotel.
I was talking about earlier, one of the reasons I didn't end up going is because I'm still nursing my child, and it would just, the idea of having to get in and out of that building because it's such a shit show every year. I was just like, I can't do it this year. I have thought for years that it's an unsafe space. I have thought that it's too easy to get into it, easy to get out. I know, with absolute respect, random people who have crashed the party area, that like upstairs party area where you go into different rooms, who are just people who came into that area. I felt like the people who came in to take photos, it should have been screened a lot more. Anyone can just walk in with, God forbid, an explosive on themselves or worse into that area and do a lot of damage and destruction. Do you think that it should still be held in that ballroom? And do you think that there is going to be a new dinner held in the next 30 days?
Man, it feels hard to believe that they do it in that ballroom, especially now that everybody's picking the security apart and like analyzing the holes in it. I mean, I think there are ways that they could make it more secure, but it would involve shutting down the entire hotel, which is a difficult thing to do, but maybe essential and worth it. I mean, I know people that got rooms at the hotel 2 hours before the event started. And then
Yeah, Kennedy's posted that she was able to get a room that same day. And when you consider that almost the entire line of succession to the presidency is sitting in one room, that sounds crazy to me that they wouldn't just put a block on checking in within 24 hours of the event.
Yeah, and like Megan was saying, I mean, I know a lot of people who say, "Oh, we're not going to go to the dinner, but we're going to hang out at the bar upstairs, so you can see everybody coming in and you could talk with them." Maybe that was a fine thing 10 years ago, but now that there have been, 3 assassination attempts on Donald Trump, maybe it's not the best idea. And we should move this. I know tradition having it at the Washington Hilton, and I know the White House Ballroom is really a session that's going to be years from now if people get their act together and get it put together. But I don't know. They're saying this is going to happen in 30 days. I hope they find another space to do it.
I tweeted about, I've been a supporter of the new White House Ballroom that Trump is building for a long time. I think it's a necessary space. I have understood from day one what he's trying to do. We need to have more secure locations. There should be an official White House Ballroom, as there is for like any other dignitary's residence globally, or, country of significance. I tweeted about it and was accused of being on a MAGA text chain and being paid. Brent, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. I've never been paid for any tweet of mine in my entire life. I am not on any MAGA text chains in any capacity.
Yeah, John Fetterman had the same tweet, so maybe Fetterman's on MAGA text chains too now.
Yes. Why do you think people are having such a reaction to that? Because I just felt like this was such a great example of why the White House Ballroom is necessary, given the kind of climate we're in.
Yeah, Donald Trump can't be right about anything. And I mean, it's obviously a smart thing to do. We're the United States of America. Trump hosts a lot of events. Any president hosts a lot of events. Why wouldn't you have a ballroom where you could do it? I think it would be great for the Correspondents Dinner. We're obviously and sadly in a climate where these events are all security is of the utmost importance because we live in this environment with a lot of violent rhetoric. And now there's proof that people keep trying to kill Donald Trump. I don't know. It seems crazy. There was that big hubbub about the architectural plan, and everybody for a while was like, architecture experts, terrible idea. I think they could figure it out. Pretty good at building things, the best in the world at building things. So let's get the ball done. I don't think that makes us MAGA extremists.
Brent, I don't want to take up more of your time. I hope you make it through the airport and on your plane back to Tennessee. Thank you for sharing your experience with me and with the audience. We really appreciate it. I was really freaked out when I was seeing your tweets. And I hope if they do it again, you go to the next one, because I think it's important to show people that we are not scared. You can follow Brent on all forms of social media at Brent Scher. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you. And it was good seeing you last weekend. See y'all.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, really quick before our next guest, we have a quick ad for you guys. Very exciting. Our friends at Funrise. Okay, so support for the show comes from VCX, the public ticker for private tech. For generations, American companies have moved the world forward through their ingenuity and determination. And for generations, everyday Americans could be a part of that journey through perhaps the greatest innovation of all, the U.S. stock market. It didn't matter whether you were a factory worker in Detroit or a farmer in Omaha, anyone could own a piece of the great American companies. But now that's changed. Today, our innovative companies are staying private rather than going public. The result is that everyday Americans are excluded from investing and getting further left behind, while a select few reap all the benefits. That's until now. Introducing VCX, the public ticker for private tech, now available wherever you buy stocks. VCX by Funrise gives everyone the opportunity to invest in the next generation of innovation, including the companies leading the AI revolution, space exploration, defense tech, and more. Visit getvcx.com for more info. That's getvcx.com. Carefully consider the investment material before investing, including objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. This and other information can be found in the fund's prospectus at getvcx.com. This is a paid sponsorship. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We are so excited. We've had her booked for a long time. We are very excited to welcome Isabel Brown, host of the Isabel Brown Show on the Daily Wire. You can find her at the Isabel B on social media. Thank you so much for coming on, Isabel. We are so happy to have you today.
Thanks for having me. I know it was a long time coming, and what a crazy turn of events this last weekend. I'm sure we'll talk about too.
I know. I want to get into that first and then into your show and some more personal things, if that's okay, just because we've been talking about it. I'm so mad. I'm upset. I have been to that dinner, I think 9 times. It's 9 or 10. I can't remember. I think it's a fun dinner. I don't accept the criticism. How are you feeling? All of you're friends with Brent. You're friends with, I'm sure, a million people in that room as well. How are
Yeah.
you feeling watching it? And what are your feelings on President Trump saying that he wants to throw the party again in the next 30 days?
Yeah, well, Megan, like you, I think all of us are just really shaken up all over again. We saw this happen 8 months ago with the loss of our friend Charlie, and again a few years ago with the last time someone had an assassination attempt against the president. So I hate to say it remotely feels like deja vu, but it kind of does. I think a lot of us are feeling a lot of those same emotions. I was supposed to be in attendance at the dinner. My husband and I weren't able to make it because we weren't able to get a sitter for our daughter, and he wasn't feeling great. And a friend called to ask if we were doing okay. I thought he was asking about my husband not feeling well, and I started to answer, and he said, "What are you talking about?" We said, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And he told us there had been a shooting. So we immediately sat up, looked at the live coverage of everything happening on the news, and all of our friends were in that room. So we're making lots of phone calls, making sure everything's okay. By the grace of God, everyone was fine. And that Secret Service agent that was shot was the only hit target. He is expected to do great now on the other end of this. But to see the sheer terror on the faces of so many people that we love all over again as we keep repeating this behavior every few months is inexcusable, honestly. And in response to that, the continued interference that the left is continuing to run for their violent rhetoric that is causing radicalization into actual manifested violence is wildly frustrating, if not just a total slap in the face to those of us who have experienced such substantial loss this last year.
Well, I want to get into that because I've been, like I said, I was really angry. I was really upset on Saturday, and I was really angry on Sunday. And part of it is that, I mean, we are on my side, your side, our side are not the ones making assassination attempts at politicians and at political figures. Again, there's a long pattern, obviously Charlie Kirk being the most recent 8 months ago. And this person was a radical, crazy teacher from California who apparently his family had alerted authorities about in the past. I don't know why that went on the wayside. I do not know what to do about this. I live in the state of Virginia, and my attorney general has text messages that were found that said that he was okay with bullets being in Republicans' heads and their children's heads. So that's obviously meaning me. I don't know what to do, Isabel. I don't know what to do anymore, other than completely ensconcing myself with people I agree with. But I don't think that's really a healthy way to live.
No, it's not. And actually, if I can just suggest maybe an alternative way of thinking about this person was not a fringed, radical, crazy lunatic. He was a very high functioning member of society. He was a registered teacher of the month in 2024, a mechanical engineer who graduated from Caltech. Similarly, Jay Jones is the current attorney general of the state of Virginia, where I currently live. Wildly educated, extremely successful by all standards that we have tended to look at this through the lens of human history. And so I think we have an assumption to jump to the fact that these people are somehow fringe lunatics, that they're struggling with mental health disorders or substance abuse. They're not normal people. I actually think we need to reframe this quite substantially in realizing these people are not an exception to the system. They are a byproduct of the system. When virtually every single cultural pillar is repeating the same talking points that Donald Trump is literally Hitler, that anyone who supports him is certainly a member of Hitler Youth or the Gestapo or Secret Service, when these people are evil fascists and they need to be taken out from society by any means necessary. And you're hearing this from Nancy Pelosi, from Maxine Waters, from Don Lemon, from Hassan Piker on a regular basis, top operatives in the Democrat Party and even elected officials. Of course, that is going to radicalize even normal people into acceptance of violence as an acceptable means to an end. It's why you saw so many public school teachers celebrating vehemently in the streets, mocking themselves being shot in the neck after our friend Charlie was killed, because they are a byproduct of the system that trained them to think that that was okay. And if that can be our turning point moving forward as a society, no pun intended, to not just think, oh, this happens, but there are always crazy people and there are always evil people and there's always going to be these fringe lunatics, but instead realizing our culture is the system driving these people into normalizing this behavior. I hope that's a wake-up call that we can do something dramatic to change it.
One of the things that you brought up is obviously the Charlie Kirk assassination and seeing the video of Erica Kirk, which, by the way, I thought it was very distasteful for people to share those videos of her.
Me too. Yeah.
Of course, she is upset. give her a break. I do not understand the anger and hate and attacks on this woman. I thought it was very brave of her to show up in that room. I was even just thinking like the physicality of being in that room, because I've been in there before and you probably have too. It is tight. There's a ton of people around. There's hostile people around, people that don't agree with her politics, don't agree with Turning Point. Maybe people who've said unkind things about her husband. Thought it was brave she showed up. And these videos of her crying when she's leaving, she thought she probably was going to get shot and her children were going to get orphaned. What is wrong with everyone? What is wrong with the Candace Owens and the people? I think they've started this trend. Why are people being so ugly to her? I cannot grasp it. I just, it makes me feel like there's just a real disease and brain rot in this country.
Well, brain rot is a trending word these days in a whole bunch of areas of our culture, but I really think it's just so easy for us to dehumanize people that we see through a screen. When you're a two-dimensional talking head on the internet or somebody that you see a clip of, instead of someone that you're touching, you're interacting with, you're hugging, you can see them and hear them and feel them. It's so easy to diminish someone's life experience to just a blip that you saw for 2 seconds on X in particular. Erica is by far one of the strongest people, if not the strongest person I've ever known. It is an honor and a privilege to call her a friend. And just last week, she had to call off an event that she was scheduled to do at the University of Georgia with our vice president to do a live Q&A with some students because the address of the plane that she was getting on and off and the transportation services taking her to and from the plane were being doxed to the public, and there were very real security threats in which she could have orphaned their 2 children now with Charlie's death happening about 8 months ago. So that happened at a Secret Service event last week. This now happened on Saturday, where the president and the entire line of presidential succession, minus one individual, was all in the room. I hope this is an opportunity for people to realize that danger is very real and that threat is very real when you are outspoken about the truth. Ultimately, this is so much bigger than just Republican versus Democrat or liberal versus conservative. People like Charlie and Erica have dedicated their lives to the pursuit of truth and sharing it with others, and there is a very real threat as a result of that. Even if the president of the United States is in the room and the best Secret Service agents on the planet and the best private armed security for all of the most influential people on the planet are all in the same room, it's a decision that she has to make every single day to leave her home and to be appearing in public and hopefully allowing other people to continue that pursuit of truth into the future.
Isabel, in that vein, I don't know if you saw right before we came on, our first lady came out and said that she wants Jimmy Kimmel taken off air. I just want to show a clip one more time for people that may be just tuning in. Jimmy Kimmel made a really disgusting joke, which I perceived as him wanting our president to be assassinated as well. Excuse me, they got a lot of attention on social media. Number 8, please.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
What the hell's his problem? He's already had so many issues in the past. Why are you saying this? He would never say this about President Obama. He would never say this about President Biden. Why are you talking like this? I don't understand it.
I don't even think it's funny, actually. I mean, all the people laughing, I'm sure they were holding up laugh cue cards. Where's the joke in that? Like, oh, haha, maybe someday I hope that your husband dies. The timing of it is incredibly odd and very suspicious. This was put out the day before, certainly. But again, just goes to highlight the fact that we live in a culture that normalizes people into radicalization and normalizes political violence. People are calling for assassinations left and right at late night comedy hosts, shows, on Twitch live streams, on college campuses, from the halls of Congress. And until we can wake up and realize that this is a substantial problem that needs correcting, not necessarily from just a legal perspective, but more importantly, from a heart and a culture and soul perspective of our country, I don't see this getting any easier moving forward.
I just feel really bad for Melania Trump. The video of her face after the shooting on Saturday, she looks petrified. Anyone that's seen the Melania documentary, one of the main themes is how worried about security she is for herself and her son, Barron. And I just feel like when I saw it, I was like, she always looks so like stoic and beautiful, and she looked scared and like real emotion on her face. And I was like, this woman has gone through so much, and I don't know why people continue to put her through so much. I think they should pull Jimmy Kimmel's ass off air. I doubt they will. I worked at ABC News for 4.5 years. They like it. They like Republicans being in fear. They like attacking conservatives. They like it. And there's a giant cultural problem at that network where they don't see Republicans and conservatives as real people, which is something I know you experienced recently when you got in a fight with the people at The View, my old show. For people that don't know, you went to CPAC and encouraged young women to prioritize marriage and having children. I think that's a wonderful message. And they had a nervous breakdown about it. Sarah, we don't even have the clip, but I didn't want to show it because I don't like giving them more attention.
We don't want to give them any clicks or views. So
Amen.
Yeah, that's okay.
But everyone can get the gist. Yeah.
Sarah Haynes and Whoopi Goldberg were particularly angry at your message. I want to get pretty deep into this if you don't mind. What was your reaction when you saw them attacking you?
Well, in truth, Megan, I had no idea that this was coming. The network certainly hadn't given us a heads up. I don't watch The View. Spoiler alert, none of us really do these days. And so never
You're about
thought
50
twice
years
about it.
under the demo, by the way.
True.
Like, I think it's 62 is where it starts. It's a very old demo. At least it wasn't out there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it still is, honestly. And that's true largely for cable in general these days, but especially The View. But as you mentioned, I went to CPAC, as I do almost every year as a conservative activist and podcast host. I was on a panel with some other women about the importance of family. And this was a 30+ minute discussion about how we need to recenter the family in our culture. I'm experiencing all of this as a new mom this last year. My daughter will be 1 on Thursday, which is so fast.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's
I
such
love
a
a
beautiful
Taurus.
year.
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. But my husband and I got married in 2024, so my marriage is still pretty new too. And we talk about marriage and children and all the beautiful parts of family and navigating that as new moms and dads on my show all the time. So I ended this 30-minute discussion with the last question I was asked, telling a mostly older than myself audience that they should tell their adult children that they should absolutely have the courage to get married and have children, more children than they think they're ready for and more than they think that they can afford. And I think nervous breakdown really is probably the appropriate response and characterization of how The View responded to this. They took like a 10-second clip out of a 30-minute conversation and decided to dedicate an 8-minute segment of The View to this, completely slandering myself, my husband, my daughter. They attacked me for breastfeeding. They said my husband must be this horrible, patriarchal, evil man, and it's so easy to escape a bad marriage. Someone should get this girl a divorce attorney. They decided to call me a racist because historically, if you told Black women to have a bunch of kids, you were this evil, racist person trying to trap Black people in poverty. I mean, the stuff they came up with was absolutely bonkers and just outright propaganda and lies, actually. Sunny Hostin pulled up a study that said it costs on average $400,000 a year to pay for childcare in America today. If that were remotely true, no one would be having children. And I don't know what services you're getting for that type of paycheck.
How many nannies do these people have?
Or private jets to and from school every day, or on-call doctors. I don't know, but talk about being wildly out of touch with where normal people live.
Wow.
And they
Did
ended
they call
the
her
segment.
out on that? I mean, that's insane.
There was some confusion in the moment, and they said, well, hang on, what do you mean by that? What exactly does that figure mean? And she said, no, per year, that's what it takes to pay for childcare every year, which is not true.
People don't even make that much money to. Okay.
Yeah,
Continue.
correct.
Well,
Sorry.
also,
It's-
she's one of her tricks is making up facts out of nowhere.
Of course.
Like she'll just be like, "This is a data point," and it's something like that, where it's like it costs $5 million to have one child per year. Like it's just absurd nonsense. And
Yeah,
she's
if you
she's
live
like
on the
sort
Upper
of
East
known
Side
for that.
and you're a banker, financial bajillionaire, sure, okay.
She
Yeah,
was
maybe it
also
costs
wearing
them.
an $800 jacket when she said that. I looked it up. So I think she's just a little out of touch with where people are at. Anyway,
She also
long story.
lives in final thing. She lives in a giant mansion that I believe the former mayor or governor of New York owns. That she has. The reason why I know is because she's done spreads in People magazine. She's a very wealthy woman.
Why would you
living in
want
a
people to know where
in
you
a huge
live?
mansion. It's stupid, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, maybe in her life that's what it's cost. But I think in reality,
Not in my
obviously, that's
world, not the
case.
world I live in. Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that. Lo and behold, they decided to end the whole segment with Whoopi Goldberg looking straight into camera and addressing me, and ultimately saying, Isabel, if you are telling women to have as many children as they want to, we are going to send you back to the past. Literally saying the quiet part out loud, that you're not allowed to want children anymore as a young woman in culture if you're going to be empowered or supposedly a feminist or making sure that you're on par with men, which is precisely the exact message that has gotten us to where we are today, with the lowest marriage rate in American history and a record low fertility rate. And, oh, by the way, big spoiler alert, a serious serious mental health crisis that is plaguing my generation because we lack fulfillment and purpose and meaning in our lives at unprecedented rates. So we had some fun with the response to it. As expected, as I'm sure you know, Megan, ABC said, no, not never. We will not have Isabel back on. We asked to go up, and I said, I'll take the first train from DC up to New York tomorrow. They said, nope, we don't want to have you on the network. But we did respond to it on my podcast. And I think it started a really incredible conversation nationwide for young people about, do I really want to live the type of miserable life I'm seeing from these women on TV, or do I want something a little bit more than that?
Well, there's a few tentacles in this that I want to hit. The first is the show and the host glorify abortion, and their own abortions that they've spoken about. I'm not speaking out of turn, the things they've said publicly. And when I worked there, it was one of the hardest parts for me working there, because I felt like there was just this assumption that everyone was pro-choice, everyone loved abortion, and or maybe anyone had an abortion. I have not. I'm ardently pro-life. Like, I've won awards for my activism. It's like one of the cornerstones of my faith and the way I live my life and just what I believe. I think abortion should be banned and illegal. That is like what I feel, period, full stop. I think it's murder. So that is a hard cultural thing. And the idea that a woman could be pro-life is really beyond anyone at that show's comprehension. I mean, they can't even fathom that women like you and I exist. And that was a very difficult part of working there. So that, I'm sure, added into some of that. The other thing is, when I left The View, the executive producer said, I want you to help me help pick your predecessor, because, not to humble brag too much, but the show's only won an Emmy twice in its history. One time was when I was there for Best Political Show. It had a huge rating success, and it was culturally relevant. That wasn't just me. There were other things going on in the world, but I'd like to think I played a factor in it, because they don't have any of that now. I gave them a list of women that I thought would be great. Liz Wheeler was one of them, like real conservatives. Allie Beth Stuckey. I didn't know you at the time. I would have put you on the list, but I was like, you need someone who's a real one. I'm not talking about these fake people who once voted for President Bush in the early 2000s and now hate everything Republicans are. Well, that's what they glorify. And I'm going to say something that's a little nasty, but the person they replaced me with is a joke. She is no way representative of conservative women. It's been a wildly disappointing experience for me to see what legacy I helped do during the 4 years there while my dad battled brain cancer and I had not one but two miscarriages while I worked there. To see that kind of woman put up, when they could have you on the show after you get in this fight, they could have you come in and show the women of America, all 16 of them that are still watching The View, but it does get clicks on social media. I don't understand why they wouldn't have booked you. It's such a deeply missed opportunity. Do you think it's just that you're obviously, extremely eloquent, a great debater, and they were just scared of what you would say?
Maybe. I think the other part to this is that they just don't want to platform any sort of alternative view, which is ironic because that's what the show is supposed to be about, is multiple different viewpoints. But you've obviously seen Whoopi Goldberg walk off set when she's confronted with very conservative ideas, on the off chance they ever book a conservative on the show. I actually remember when they were hiring for that, at the time, someone was helping me do my media bookings, and he said that he had heard that The View was looking for somebody, and I was brand new into media. I was very young. Didn't have a whole lot of TV experience at the time, but he asked for the requirements and like, maybe we can get you a tryout or something. At the time, I thought that might be fun. Now I'm like, ugh, that would be horrible. I wouldn't want to spend every day that way. But one of the chief requirements that they had for the new conservative host of The View back then was that you were fully vaccinated with all of the boosters for COVID. And as soon as I read that, I said, you're not going to get a real conservative to be on this show. Godspeed with that. But just crazy stuff. I'm hopeful that eventually it starts a better conversation across multiple dialogues. I've actually reached out to the guest host of the panel that day, Whitney Cummings, and we had an interesting conversation privately on Instagram DM. I'm hopeful to have her on my podcast and just start a more interesting, transparent conversation.
That happen,
but we'll see. Yeah.
I will say also the one of the requirements of being a conservative host on The View now is that you have to have vote for a Democrat. Anna Navarro, and I'm sorry, I always forget her name, and I'm not saying that to be shitty. The girl who replaced me, Alyssa, thank you.
Yeah.
Or Alicia. But again, like, whatever. But I do know that she voted for Kamala. And again, how is that representing conservatives? She was public about it.
And she was in the Trump administration. Well, I don't pay attention to her, so how would I know who she voted for? But that's interesting. Huh.
All I'm saying is that for me, growing up, I'm much older than you. I'm a million years old as well. When I was growing up, Elizabeth Hasselbeck was on The View, and she was great. And she was really strong, and she really fought for a lot of the things that I fight for. And she was a great icon for me. And to me, what the potential of what the show could do if they had someone like you on, and if they came on to debate this argument, which obviously I agree with you on, but I guess they don't. I just don't understand why the show has to be people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are all far left progressives. It is not what Barbara Walters wanted.
Yeah.
I think it does such a disservice. And honestly, like it's also a road to getting canceled. It's
I have
boring.
a question, Megan. Going back to Isabel, the initial situation, all of those women except for Anna have children, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they
Okay.
do.
And these women are older. That's fair to say. So their children are probably older. When you hear your mother saying, don't have children, how do you think that makes their kids feel? Like, well, like, fuck me, right? Like, should I not? Did I ruin your life? Did I ruin your career? Clearly, these women are successful. They all come from Whoopi with her EGOT and Joy with her successful stand-up career, Anna Navarro, whatever it is that she did in Miami, political consulting, and Sugar Baby allegedly, and Sunny, incredible attorney. So, and Alyssa Fairgriffin, political backslider. So what stopped these women from having children and having insanely successful careers?
Nothing,
So,
right?
So why are you and I and Megan not allowed to enjoy the benefits and joy and love and incredible life that we're all sharing together in motherhood and happy marriages, and also careers that we love and enjoy and fulfill us? Because I'm sitting on the floor of my five-year-old daughter's bedroom doing this right now, and then I'll go and do the dishes and pick them up from school in a couple of hours. So
mom job never stops. But Megan, I think that you really did hit the nail on the head, that this is a rampantly pro-abortion show more than anything else. And they claim that this is really about choice, that you should have the choice to do what you want to do with your life. But the only choice they actually endorse for other people is the choice to violently end the life of your child. And the minute that you suggest women should want anything other than that, you are an enemy to all women everywhere, and you need to be violently and publicly shamed for it. It really is a shame, but I'm not the first time that they've done this. Jane Fonda was on the show relatively recently after Roe v. Wade was overturned after the Dobbs decision, and she actually said that she condones murder of pro-life people as a legitimate means to an end if you're fighting back against making abortion illegal. And actually, she was just point blank asked by, I think it was Joy Behar, other than protesting and taking to the streets and making your voice heard, what do you suggest we do? And she actually said, well, I've thought about murder. And everyone went quiet for a second. They said, what do you mean by that? She said, no, murder. She doubled down on it, was very clear about it. And of course, someone jumps in, she's joking. I really don't think she is. And this is the same political violence problem that we have across the board with every policy issue today. But the minute you encourage people to have autonomy over their own lives, to take ownership over your own decisions instead of outsourcing it to the government or your favorite influencer or your favorite politician, you represent a threat to what the left is trying to do in complete control over the next generation. And I suppose me encouraging young men and women alike to get married and have children, that was the biggest threat that they could have imagined.
Is there anything else you want to say? I wish I was still in some kind of power position where I could have forced them to have you on the show. It's really, really missed opportunity that The View didn't book you. It just is, for so many different reasons. Is there anything else you want to say to put a button on this?
Oh, well, I'd love to appear anytime in the future if they're ever open to it. But truthfully, I think I've said in response everything I really wanted to about that particular segment. I will just say, at large,
the booker's name is Todd. You know who you are.
Hey, Todd. Give me a call, Todd. I will just say at large, for the women of our generation, though, the science and the data on this is abundantly clear. A recent poll just came out from the Institute for Family Studies that for women under the age of 35, if you are married with children, you are 3 times happier on average than unmarried and childless women. And as we are wrestling with easily the biggest mental health crisis the world has ever known, and we're asking ourselves these questions: who am I? What am I doing here? What's the meaning and purpose of my life? Isolating yourself further, which is what the left is advocating for, is the worst possible path you could go down. Motherhood is not easy. It is the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and marriage is difficult as well. But in that difficulty and that self-sacrifice, I have felt more purposeful, more fulfilled, more closely connected to God, and more meaningful in the world than I ever have beforehand. You deserve to have those feelings and that experience too.
Also, having kids for me, I have three, and I would have had six. I've had three miscarriages. And again, one thing I always tell women is sometimes fertility is not a straight line.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
another reason I wish I had started earlier is that I didn't know it was going to be quite as hard. I mean, I'm blessed. I have three, but I would have had six if I could, and I couldn't. So, one of the things is like sometimes things don't work out exactly the way you think they're going to, and it takes time to recover. It takes time. All of it takes time, and healing and spiritually healing, physically healing. So that's one thing. And the other thing is having kids has made me such a more interesting commentator. It has illuminated me to so many things in the world. And I have such purpose in a different way. When I was working at The View, my husband always jokes with me. I had like a really sexy apartment that was very expensive. I had a room filled with designer clothes and handbags. And like my life basically consisted of like getting up, doing the show, going to lunch after, maybe shopping, maybe seeing a friend, and going to a lot of parties. And I was miserable. I was so sad. I was lonely. When I think about it, I think of just how cold my experience was. I felt very isolated. It wasn't just marriage and kids, but finding Ben, getting married, then having kids. I never feel like that anymore. And it's just like life. Really
Everyone is always around.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm literally never alone anymore. It's like it was like Wizard of Oz, like dark and then Technicolor. Like that's the best way I can describe having children. I'm with you. It's beautiful. It's worth it and everything. And I agree with you. Have more than you can afford. I love the messaging of it. I wish I didn't grow up in the time when Sex in the City was the messaging sent to women that was like, drink Cosmos and have sex and that's it. I want to talk to you about your show, Isabel. You just celebrated 100 episodes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's doing so well. I know so many young women who are admirers of yours and frequent listeners. I myself listen to your show. It's fantastic. Are you enjoying it? What has this journey been like to get to this place? Because you're really, exploding everywhere right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. It is truly all by the grace of God, and I never could have orchestrated any of it by myself. I had been doing independent live streaming and totally independent content creation for several years before this last year when we relaunched my show with the Daily Wire. And funny enough, they actually called me a year ago this week, 2 days before I gave birth to my daughter, and said, hey, we have a new president at the company. We're doing some new exciting stuff. Any interest remotely in doing anything with us? And I said, yeah, that sounds like an absolute dream, but I'm currently actively contracting under the table, so I have to go to the hospital. I'll call you in a few weeks. And they've been incredibly supportive of all things motherhood and supporting our family, which is amazing. But it has been a match made in heaven. We've had so much fun kind of reinventing the creative content wheel a bit, not just at the Daily Wire, but across content creation for the conservative movement in general. I am a big believer that we have to stop just making shows for the sake of hearing another person talk behind a microphone. We all do that, and it's really exhausting, and usually we end up talking about the same thing across 45 different shows every single day of the week. So we have pivoted to really thinking about creating influential and impactful content for the next generation, whatever that looks like, whether I am sitting here in my home studio in my basement, or we're vlogging, bringing my daughter to the launch of Trump accounts, and I'm trying to figure out breastfeeding backstage with Nicki Minaj, which was a total fever dream of an experience, or going to a beautiful homeschool co-op in North Idaho, and they're reinventing the wheel of education to be nature-based play school. I mean, it's been such an amazing journey, and I think is helping young people really reframe, how do we not just be on defense against the lies of the left and all of the evil that's out there, reacting to that, but instead going on offense to build something beautiful and to create this next American dream for our generation. It's been wonderful.
I love it. And I wish you nothing but continued success. I just want to thank you for your time. I know you're really busy, and sometimes it's hard to be a guest on a show when you're hosting your own shows. So thank you so much for your time, Isabel. And really, just incredible work. And you can follow all of Isabel's work on the Daily Wire. I am a subscriber, or at This Is Isabel on social media. And is there anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
No, just so excited we were finally able to make this happen. Would love to link up for coffee in person, since we're both Virginia girls. At least for now. At least for now. But
girl, we should talk about that later. I hate Abigail Spanberger fan club or a hate club, whatever.
Sign me up.
Oh my God.
She's making t-shirts. She'll get your size later.
It's so bad. It's so scary. I don't know what the hell we're going to do. Ben and I were talking about this morning. I'm with you, man, but I will not stay here if this stuff passes. I will say that I'm not staying here if it passes, because I don't think it's safe. Isabel, I would happy meet in person anytime, and you're just a delight, and I wish you the best of luck, continued success. And you don't need the View, girl. You don't. Like, I'm telling you, it's their loss all day long. They're idiots. And Todd is an idiot. You know who you are, Todd. You're an
Feel
idiot.
free to call anytime, Todd. We'll
Call
still
her
make the
anytime.
trip up there. Yeah. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. We got a couple of hands up, Megan, if you want to.
We can take some questions, but I got another ad, I believe, right? So sorry, Ashley. Okay.
Okay, you guys
we
got to suffer
love-
through this one more second.
We'll just do an ad and then we'll do some questions. Okay. All right. We love Cozy Earth. Obviously, it's where I get my sheets, bathrobes, body butter. Mother's Day is coming up 2 weeks. Is that right? 2 weeks from now.
That's not our job to know. It's not that's someone else's problem.
Exactly. What I want for Mother's Day is I want a new bathrobe. I want some slippers and I want some body butter. So Ben needs to get on it and go to cozyearth.com. I love how cozy and comfortable it is. Everything is really high quality. I don't know. I just love everything that they have on there. And I love that it is not as expensive as designer stuff at Nordstrom's or something like that.
But it's the same kind of quality. It's so good.
What's your favorite thing from Cozy Earth?
I love the sheets. I love the comforters. I love a good bathrobe. I love a good, like you said, the body butter. It's like so creamy without being greasy. I don't know how to describe it, but it is like very luxe. Like for Mother's Day, what I want is someone else to wash the sheets, the bedding, make the bed fresh, and then leave so that I can lay in bed.
That's all I want to.
Watch my shows all day long. In like a nice fluffy bathrobe and just leave me alone and just send me food all day. That's what I want.
Do we have a discount code, Ashley? We have a discount code for you guys, which is very exciting. It's coming up. Oh, let this Mother's Day be a reminder that she deserves care too. Discover how Cozy Earth turns everyday routines into moments of softness and ease. Head to cozyearth.com and use my code McCain for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention you heard about Cozy Earth here on Citizen McCain, because home starts with mom. That's what I want. I want sheets, body butter, and a bathrobe. Get on it, Ben.
PJs, good summer PJs. The long sleeves. I live in LA. It's hot at night, and that air conditioner bill's too much. So we do have a couple of hands up. We have a couple hands
really quick. One more quick thing we wanted to put up. Ian,
yes.
You know what I want?
Oh, Megan's
put the photo up. Put it up. I came in today and I asked Ashley and Miranda if I look like Ina Garten in this shirt.
Like, do I need to change? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I do. And I'm aware that there I am. We're twinning.
I'm going to need you to make me a roasted chicken later.
Yes.
Oh my God, a million
laughing.
laughing faces are exploding.
Yeah. I'm aware that I accidentally came in and dressed like Queen Icon Legend Ina Garten. I love her. Her roast chicken with croutons is my favorite thing ever. My favorite thing to make. I made it when I was dating Ben, and I think it's part of why he fell in love with me, because I made this amazing roast chicken for him. But I love her, but I didn't mean to quite.
You were feeling
like that.
I know what you're having for dinner tonight. Yeah.
I was like, I'm twinning with Ina Garten. So yeah. Didn't mean to do that, but it's okay. Sometimes you just have an Ina Garten day. And I was looking at Isabel and I was like, God, she's beautiful. Her hair and makeup's done, whatever. And I'm like, I look like Ina Garten and my hair looks bad. And
she's young. Look at all. Did you see all that hair? Oh my God, that is post baby, and she's young. That is hair.
I have 6 hairs on my head. So
I know. I'm like Charlie Brown over here. This is all my hair. It's all pulled forward. This is everything I am.
I have no hair.
I used to have so much hair.
Okay, we have a few questions.
Hey, Rye, how's it going?
Hi, Rye. How are you?
Are we saying that right?
Hey, yes, I'm good. First, I just want to give a comment, Megan. Congrats to you and Ben. You're beautiful. You always have been beautiful. I try to hop in your comments on social, but put that you're beautiful in comments when people are hating on you. I just want you to know that. I know you've had a rough couple weeks. You were saying, and it made.
People are acting like I look like Sloth from the Goonies. Like I'm just like this hideous ghoul that emerges from the bowels of a basement. It's horrible.
I don't like that.
No, I don't get it. You both are gorgeous. You're beautiful.
Hey, you guys.
F the haters.
Baby Ruth.
F the haters. I just
Thank you, Rye.
There's people here that support you. Think you're great. Just 2 quick comments. First, the view has not been the same without you. I've gone a few times.
Thank you.
And I do think that I actually was excited when Alyssa was away on maternity leave, because they actually did bring in actual people who had different opinions. I think right now it's not the view. It should be the same view, because everyone is on the same. And again, I get that, but you don't have to have somebody that's maybe super MAGA, but at least have a Republican who doesn't always agree. It's now become a yes fan show, and that's been frustrating. So when she was away, having your kid, God bless him, he's healthy and stuff, but it was nice to see actually different opinions. The women didn't know what to do with themselves, which was actually pretty funny. So those were the days. I did come to a few tapings that you were there. I guess my other second sort of thing I wanted to touch on was, do you think now after what happened on Saturday, and I'm so glad you weren't there because that was also my mind went there too. I said, oh God, I hope Megan didn't
Thank
end up
you.
going to this.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you feel that the narrative that the media has around Trump, and obviously, he has said things that he's, there's some things he said in the past too, but do you think the narrative now around Trump may change a little bit since they were in the same room that was potentially could have been a target, God forbid, had something had happened? Do you think maybe they'll be a little bit more not so crazy TDS about how they cover him with every little thing? Do you think maybe the narrative will change a little bit, being like, wow, our lives could have changed on Saturday, and obviously the president's life could have changed on Saturday? Do you think like anything will change at all? Do you think there's a little bit of like, not like a come to Jesus moment, but understanding that like, hey, we need to tone it down a little bit? Obviously, Trump's, Trump has said some stuff too, but will the media, you think, tune it down a little bit? Thanks for having me tune in. And again, you both are beautiful. I love the show. I
Thank
tune in,
you.
and when I can ask a question, I do. Thanks for being so awesome.
Thank you so
Ryan.
much for all the support, Rye, and the kind words. We really appreciate it. So nice to see you. I know a lot of journalists are really rocked and really rattled. Like that was the word that people kept using with me yesterday. Like we're really rattled. I hope people try and tone it down. I did see, I believe it was Nora O'Donnell that made me wrong. It was someone talking to, I think, Hakeem Jeffries, asking if they should be toning down the rhetoric. I hope so, but my fear is that the genie's already out of the bottle. Like I worry that this is only going to get worse. And I saw a clip of somebody I used to know on social media on Saturday, and they were asking them at a party. I don't want to say who because he's an asshole, but he just, trust me, he's a bad guy. And they were saying, why do you think this happened? And he said, Trump, he's a horrible man. And, all these, it's his rhetoric. And it's like, can we just not do this right now? Can we just not do this for 6 seconds? And I'm not like actively scared. It's not like I go into a room and I'm scared, but I'm much more cognizant of the spaces I'm going in, what I'm posting on social media. And I was very, very nervous about that dinner for like weeks leading up to it. I don't know why. I just was like, there's going to be every cabinet member. Yeah.
Something specific that you told me, the vibes were off. Like you said, you were thinking about going, you'd had your stuff picked out, you were ready to go. And you're like, I'm just, you know what?
I have a dress and an expensive bag that I was going to wear.
You were all ready to go. You had the glam, like Carmen on standby. I was like, all ready to go. And you're just like, it doesn't feel right. The vibes are off. And it's like, if I trust anything in this world, it's Megan's intuition. You are some kind of like a psychic in a past life or something. I don't know.
No, I'm just a little witchy, but I hope one thing I'm sure of, Rye, is that they can't do it in that room anymore. It's too dangerous. It's been dangerous for a long time. Again, people were talking about, you heard Simone Sanders, maybe the start of the show, saying she scootered up to the entrance. Again, God forbid what if she was a psychopath with a suicide vest on? Like she could have killed.
Also,
it's like, why is it this open and exposed? Sorry, Miranda, go ahead.
I know that this is not appropriate, but the image of that is really funny to me, that someone is
probably in an evening gown,
in like a formal dress and high heels, and she's like rolling up on a lime scooter. Like that's objectively hilarious, and I need to see that security footage when everything calms down. I almost said
it was all very traumatizing, and I'm glad everybody again is okay. It was just I just pray for our country because God, we need it. This is crazy, scary times we're living in.
I don't know if anybody else watched the 60 Minutes piece last night with President Trump and Nora O'Donnell, because I did. I watched the full thing, and among a lot of things that were fascinating to watch, and I recommend everybody go watch it on YouTube. It's about 45 minutes. But he said that in the aftermath, there was a lot of love in the room. People coming together, Republican, Democrat, just all journalists, everybody all together. Are you okay? Can I get you anything? Do you need any help? Did you hurt yourself? Because people were diving under the tables. And you and I know, Megan, when you're in heels and like a tight dress, it hurts. Like you said, someone got their dress ripped because they were diving under the table. So people were really coming together. And I'm not saying that this is going to heal us, but maybe this is a step toward healing. Maybe this is a step toward people coming together and, like you said, right, toning down the rhetoric. And I'm talking about from the right also. President Trump can maybe stop calling the left demons and the enemy within. That doesn't help either, that kind of talk. So everybody can, maybe we can all just collectively
But
chill out.
There were two journalists that right after that happened, Michael Tracy and I believe Jim Acosta,
and they're
screaming at
dicks.
each other on Twitter, saying, "Meet me at the Hyatt,"
We all know
Hilton.
Jim Acosta is a colossal asshole. Like, that's not a surprise.
Tweeting photos of the hotel that they want to get in a fist fight in. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was like, meet me at, it was the Hilton or the Hyatt. I can't remember. And it's like, what are you doing? You're adults and you're journalists and you're saying you want to get in a fist fight outside of Hilton after the Correspondents Dinner, after there's an assassination attempt. Are you out of your mind? So that's the kind of shit I'm really done with.
Drunk.
Like,
if you get a chance to, also on the Daily Beast is a very fascinating piece about the Daily Beast reporter who had the room next to the shooter. And he wrote all about his experience.
And poor Wolf Blitzer. He had this whole thing where he was like in the bathroom next to where it happened. And that poor man, like, he just can't catch a break. Like, he can't.
He goes through everything. God. But a lot of people were saying that they didn't even realize what was happening. It just sounded like someone dropped a bunch of plates, which, that happens at
my favorite tweet. Someone said, Wolf needs a Wolf Spritzer.
If there's not a drink called a Wolf
RFK
Spritzer.
saying he was hungry, by the way, and the group text that RFK was like, "I'm hungry."
That man that sat there eating the salad is my favorite person in the entire world.
Yes, he's like,
I'm eating. I came here to eat. Thank you so much, Rye. We have I think I saw
one more
Dan,
question. Thank you very much.
Dan's
Nice seeing you.
And now it's gone, Dan. Did you still want to talk to us, or are you mad at us now? Oh, did he leave? Dan.
Oh. He's like, I've had it here.
Fine, Dan.
I'll get in a fist fight outside the Park Hyatt or the Hilton or whatever.
That's the man who was texting with.
I'll meet you at the Courtyard Marriott.
Dan normally always wants to talk. Okay, fine, Dan. Be that way. Oh, there he is. He's back up. Okay. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Thanks. How are you? Megan, I just wanted to first say that what a huge fan of your father I was. I think I think the way that he, especially the way he treated the Obamas during the campaign.
Thank you.
I would love for us to get back to that kind of politics.
Me too.
On that note, as a Democrat, after Charlie was assassinated, after this, what I hear a lot from the right is all the left is violence. They did this. They're trying to kill them. But when you have stuff like everything leading up to J6, with them going after Paul Pelosi, whatnot, or them making fun of Paul Pelosi, everything that Trump says,
Melissa Hortman in Minnesota,
Melissa Hortman, the press is the enemy of the people. Can we just all agree that all violence is bad? And we don't condone any of this, and not. I
do hate the scorekeeping. I'm with you. When people start keeping score and the list, that's what keeps this snowball rolling. It's like we have got to stop. That's when when we start making the lists, that's when we know we've got this major problem. It's not. We're all Americans. We are all citizens. We're all, or whatever. We are all people.
No one is the biggest Trump hater, but me. I don't want any violence.
God.
I don't want any violence. For anybody. Can we just stop this? I'm just pleading with everybody.
I agree. I'm
guilty of it too, because I feel like I have to defend the left when they say that the left is violent, and I have to put up examples. But can we just all just stop, including the president? The president needs to stop. He's the leader of the free world. He needs to lead by example.
Yeah, he went on Norah O'Donnell last night and called her a horrible person. And she was in the room with him the night before. It's like, you guys just experienced this horrific, terrifying situation, and here we are back in the mud slinging.
And she just did a private meeting with him and David Ellison and Barry Weiss kissing Trump's ass. So it's like you'd think they would like it more. That's on
sit down, and then he calls her a horrible, terrible person and started calling her names.
Anyway, I just really want to reiterate.
She did her
if we
job.
could use Megan's dad as an example of how to
do
politics, we would have a better country.
We need a
thank you very that's
McCain's
very
America.
kind, Dan. I really appreciate it.
I mean
people say that to me all the time, and it's such a wonderful. The gift in my life is that whatever room I go in, if I'm filled with progressives or hardcore MAGA people, everybody likes my dad. Everybody. It is very hard. Other than Carrie Lake, she's the one person on planet Earth, and look where her life is at now. I'm just saying, there's a one person who doesn't like my dad, and it's really nice that his legacy is one of such bipartisanship. And, you know, when he was running for president, I was there, I worked with him. There was a lot of pressure to call Obama Muslim and to say really hideous things and be really racist. And he would never do it. Because he always said, if I have to win that way, it's not worth winning. And I don't know what the answer is anymore. I don't know what the antidote is, because I feel so far gone from that. But you want to be an icon and be loved and remembered. And, you know, it's the one thing I don't think Trump will really ever get is what my dad had, is like universal love and I think that's what he wants. And to get that, you have to behave the way my dad did. That's the answer. You have to be a uniter. So I don't know, but I'm so proud of it. And I miss him all the time. I often wonder what he would be doing, what he would be saying. He fucking hated the Correspondents Dinner. I made him go with me one year, and he hated that dinner.
Why did he hate it?
He just hated putting tuxedo on.
Yes, he was a jeans and t-shirt guy.
Just wanted to be dirty in the mud fishing. He just hated it. God. But thank you so much for your comments, Dan. I hope you have a nice day. And I agree with you. I hope we can get back to some unification. I don't know what the answer is, but thank you. And I just want to thank you all so much again for zooming in, asking questions, and listening to our little show. Ashley told me we had a great YouTube day last week. Thank you for supporting. And you know, I feel sometimes like I'm just yelling into the ether, that I'm just like sitting here like yelling into the wind and no one's listening. So it's nice that it is, other than Miranda. Sorry, you have to.
This is like our phone, just
other than Miranda and my sister.
A phone call on camera. Yeah.
Thanks, Bridget, always listening.
Bridget, we love you, Bridget.
But thank you guys so much, and keep your heads up. Don't let the bastards grind you down. That's what I keep reminding myself. And yeah, we'll just keep on keeping on. I don't know what else to say. This violence is unacceptable. It just is scaring everybody. But
it's the political violence. It's the online bullying. It's the talking shit to each other. It's the stopping talking to family members just because you disagree. It's all of it everyone needs to pause, breathe, and rewind, because we won't get back to McCain's America behaving this way. We need to go back to how we were. What is that now? 20 years ago? Oh gosh. So that's how we need to behave. And I pledge that I will be behaving that way. I don't cyberbully, and I don't ignore family members I disagree with.
You don't do any of that.
I know I don't. So act like me and act like Megan and be nice and behave, and everything will get better. I promise.
Thank you, guys. On that note, we will see you on Wednesday. I don't remember who our guest is. I'm sorry to that man
we
or
never
that
do.
woman. I apologize.
It's a surprise.
We'll let you know. All right. See you then. Bye.
Thanks, guys.